Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It is the Monday Night Family Show, and here we are again on Monday. Ooh, what will happen this Monday night? We don't know what's going to happen because this Monday night's going to
We
be.
don't know. Yes, we
We
don't know
never
what
know.
kind of spark we're going to get.
Yeah, we never know. But
And you know what, Ryan? Uh, it is evening here, but I believe it's morning where you are.
it's morning where I am. It is. It's early in the morning. It's 2 a.m. in the morning where I am.
Yeah.
So for you people to keep me on for as long as this can go on for, you're going to have to do one special thing tonight. You're going to have to participate like you do every Monday night, which we really appreciate. So please, guys, don't be shy. We're going to talk pigeons, and
You
maybe
know,
this week,
I
maybe this week
had
the audience
okay.
can help us. Go ahead, Ricky.
Well, yeah, I had a discussion with Mom, your mother,
Hmm.
and I said before we came on the show here, I said it would be nice just to have the mothers on, put them on the show. Ah,
Yeah, the mothers or the wives.
or the wives, yeah. Well, yeah, if they're not mothers yet, so their wives or girlfriends we'd have a show where they can come on and uh, Mom said, well, if I come on, I'm just gonna say all you pigeon guys are effed. And
Uh,
then we would have to get them to explain what they're talking about, you know. And that would be a great show if I said to Mom, I said, why don't we do this? Why don't you come on the show? Oh, but they don't want to come on the show. You see what I mean? Because they don't have the umph. Now, can
yeah,
you see me here? Because I got this camera on a bit of an angle.
yeah, that's the second time you've asked me that, and you look fine. If you haven't heard me complain about how you look at this point, then you're doing fine. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay, how about my nose hairs? They're good. On, boy. So where are you actually? You're like in uh, where is it? Bellure,
No,
Belgium.
no, no, no. Don't just. Could you just stop? I'm just in Michelin at the fucking hotel. Could you ask? You
Michelin.
know? Yeah.
That's in France. That's in France.
No, I'm in Belgium.
Michelin, France.
Good evening, Milton.
That,
Happy birthday to JD Teal, and good evening, Stephen Collins. Good evening, and happy birthday to my buddy there, Jeff McCann. Two people that are on our show normally have birthdays today, so we're going to say happy birthday to them. And yeah, we're going to see if we can get this show going. I don't really have a clue this week what to talk about, so maybe I'm going to turn it over to you people.
you
And if
know,
you have
I
questions,
have
you
a
could
couple
ask.
words. Just yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Don't even
You
let
know,
me get
I
my.
really appreciate. I really
Don't even let me get my shit in before you just
Okay,
try
get your
and
shit
clog
in,
me.
go. Because
No,
shit, when you put shit out there, it takes time on the show, which is good.
no, but what I'm
Last
trying.
week we had 300 viewers.
Okay, what were you gonna say now for please? Because every time I try and say something, you want to cut it in and short talk it. So go
I
ahead.
I want to say something. I really appreciate the people that watch our shows that they are not pigeon keepers. And they watch it. I don't they got on here
Ricky,
and
listen.
they like the show. I
Ricky,
I I
this
know.
is internet, okay? People, all kinds of people from all over the world watch this. They watch to see basically you, okay? You interrupt
Yeah,
me, and that's what they're
I know,
watching for,
but I'm saying I have a
okay?
friend, for
Dad,
example.
Dad, I just don't want to go down the road of all these people that we're not going to start doing this shit. This is a pigeon show, okay? So
I
let's,
just want to say thank you to
okay,
people that aren't related to the pigeon world that are watching our show. And I have
okay.
a
So
friend that's been
can
watching,
can we
and
just
I found out last night they were watching, and I really appreciate it.
thank you? Sure. All right. Do you want to get a tissue? You might get a bit emotional. Like, I mean, can we just move forward, please?
Okay, hold
That's,
on. Wait a minute. You know that
all
for
right. Let,
me,
let,
I need
let
a
me get.
special tissue for me.
Okay. I'm gonna get
That's
to
what I
the.
need. One of those babies.
All right. Okay. Let me get to what we want to talk about here a little bit tonight. Hey guys, we need by December 22nd for you guys to send in your results from pigeons that you've purchased through Feathers Elite. Uh, the top three results, or top three, whoever we vote on, or we're going to make the audience vote, the best results with pigeons that you've purchased from Feathers Elite, you're going to win a $1,000 prize, a $500 prize, and a $300 prize that we're going to give back to you guys. In the last 7 years, we've sold whole whack of pigeons, and we get a lot of results. Now it's time for you people to put it all together and see if you can win the Pigeon Boss Awards. And reminder, you can post as many results as you want. I mean, if you win a one loft race with a Feathers Elite bird, and you win a combine race with a Feathers Elite bird, and you win an ace pigeon with a Feathers Elite bird, you can submit all that. This isn't one submission per person. Submit, submit, submit. The squeaky wheel is going to get the grease. So let's see who can squeak. But I mean, maybe you know what? Maybe the $1,000 or the $500 or the $300. Maybe it's just not worth it. People are just rolling in money these days. So I don't know. Do you guys like the
What about
awards? Do you like the awards? I'm asking you, the people, because I think we got 3 or 4 entrants in, which I know there's a lot more than that. But anyways, I've asked the people. Go
so
ahead, Ricky.
even a club race,
Hmm.
even a club race, right?
Anything. Submit it. Submit it.
Now, some of the categories in Belgium, what categories do they have, starting from the lowest up to the highest? Do you know what they are?
Yeah, you got your clubs, and then
So do
you
they
got
call that a zone? Excuse
no,
me, do they call that a zone?
no. Club is a club.
What's a
A club. Think
club?
about a
What's
club.
a zone?
There's a club. There's a province. There's a zone. Then there's a national.
Okay,
Okay.
so the zone is higher than the club. No, than the province.
Yes.
Right. So
Uh,
I mean, I'm getting educated in this, and I really enjoy that you're telling me this.
well, I'm glad that you are getting educated by that. That's good. Chris Marshman says, I think it's a nice idea. I am so rich, I don't even know where the money is. LOL, says Mike Green. Yes. Shane says, I think the awards idea is great. Okay. And again, like I said, this year we started with $1,000, 500 and 300. If you guys actually participate and try, then next year we're going to double it. And if it goes good next year, then we're going to triple it. And we're going to go bigger and bigger every year. But again, it all depends on you guys. Because I know people that have results they've given me. I will not submit them. I will not do it. I'm not interested, and I'm not doing everyone's job for them. Showing love the idea. Showing what birds are doing. Yes. This week coming up, I'm going to be going to the Monic Monic Nice Loft. She uses a Jansen loft, but it's going to be interesting. I'm going to do a complete loft tour there, and you guys aren't going to see that because we're going to pre-record it all. I'm starting to do more pre-recorded stuff instead of lives because I get so many people, which is amazing that the people complain about the internet crapping out. And I get it. It's bad when the internet does crap out. And when we go to these places, we're trying not to get it to crap out. But again, I don't own the internet or the internet gods or the brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max with endless amount of internet capabilities. So we've been doing some recording. I'm looking forward for that. My first year buying. Good job, Milton. Congratulations. Yes. And for people buying, if you are interested and you're looking, we got this week running. We've got the Anik Gauthier match pair. They are up for sale right now. You get 2 for 1. So you're going to purchase this pair and you get two for the price of one. Match pairs, Anik would pair them up. Very, very nice. I'm going to have them on a show tomorrow night. So you guys will be able to see them before that auction closes on Wednesday. And also running, we've got Bosmans and Leekins. Again, the Super Blue Grizzlecock and the hen. It's so funny. In the loft, these match pairs are all paired up. I've never seen this before, but they self-paired themselves up. They're all paired properly. It's unbelievable. And I think it's just from picking them up and having them in a basket, maybe for 24 hours side by side. And it's like they instantly pair up, which I think is pretty wild. And also, at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions, just opened. This is an exclusive. My first time. This is super rare. Chris DeBecker. You guys are going to absolutely love his loft tour. If you don't love it, let me know, and I'll try harder. But I think it's awesome. But yeah, that's what I found with the match pairs. They all have paired up properly. And I think it's for the about 24 hours in the widowhood basket side by side. They can't see each other, but they're side by side. So I don't know. It's very interesting. I've never seen this before. They're paired up
Uh,
very good.
Ryan, um, could I make a comment on pairing birds up?
Go ahead.
I just realized something that in all my years of pigeon keeping, which is, I'd have to say it's 70 years,
Mm-hmm.
um, I had a pair that were mated up in the loft, well mated up, and I, you know, they're Icelandic whites, and I'm continually training the Icelandics now, even in the season when it's winter here. And because if they call me for any kind of release, be it a funeral or a wedding, I have to have those birds in mental condition to be able to fly. Hate to say it, in snowstorm, whatever it could be. So I've got this pair, and the hen was totally mated up to a cock that I had in the loft. And then the cock bird, and what happened was it was a freak thing because I want to take this pair and continue keep them going, and I do short tosses within 5 miles, 8 kilometers of the loft, just to keep them mentally functioning, you know. And so, but when I put them in the basket, the cockbird was dominating the hen, dominating her, and I seen it right away. And I said, you know what? I don't want to get her like scalped or get in any trouble. So I put them in a basket, which was had a separator in the middle of it. They couldn't see each other at all. And I take them out a lot of times every day. So these birds got to fly in overcast. They got to fly in drizzle, but it's not far. It's 5 kilometers, no, 8 kilometers, very close. And believe it or not, the hen left that cock bird, which was her cock at home, and she paired up with the cock in the basket because they sometimes be in the basket for an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. I don't make it so this is just like let's go out and get tossed. I keep them like what I mean. Sometimes I leave them in the basket overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Like okay, they made it up through the basket's got a partition in it. They cannot see each other. It's a very thin piece of plywood or whatever, very thin. They can't see each other, and they made it up without seeing each other. And that's the first time in my life I've ever experienced that. And exactly what you just said. You said something there to the same lines.
Well, yeah, what I was doing was picking up the birds that I do the photos of, and I have always the matched pair. They're in a widowhood crate with the divider, but they can't see each other. But they're normally in the basket for about 24 solid hours. They're in the basket,
Right.
and they're not paired up when we get them. And I've just been looking, and I've been noticing all the matched pairs in the loft are paired. Like they're not laying eggs, but they're beside each other. You can see they're in the
Yeah,
corners
they're
together.
paired. They like it. Yeah.
Now, Frank Leopold wants me to post up an Eddie Grugens video. And I'm going to post up this video. I've tried to upload it. I've tried to upload it, and I've tried to upload it. And for some stupid reason, the video doesn't upload the whole way. I'm very, very sorry about that. Again, that's a lot of work we put into a video that doesn't upload. I have to figure out how to upload it from the switcher, re-upload it. It might not be able to, so if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. Sorry about that. Sean says, good evening, guys. 3DX Lofts, LDX3 Lofts says, your loft tours are great. I love the content. I learn a lot. Yeah, very good. What do we say? We need people that can organize. Who's this? Antonio. Antonio, what are you talking about? Maybe I can help you out. Shane Dennis says, are these the last auctions before Christmas? Absolutely not. No. Well, this is the last auction before Christmas. No, no, I'm here. I'm here to do auctions. You guys want the best pigeons, so we're going to bring them to you. I've got again lots going on. There's always what do we say? There's always auctions here to do, always people to meet, tours to do. But coming up to Christmas, we're going to go, and then all the way through right to January, February,
So
and maybe
Brian,
March we'll run.
I think Shane's asking, when are we gonna? We are gonna cut off for the week of Christmas till just after Christmas, right?
I think about 4 days, but
Right.
it won't be nothing big. And then what we're gonna do is after this set of match pairs, we're gonna hold all the match pairs till Valentine's, I think. Um, I don't know if people like the match pairs. I haven't figured that out yet. Maybe the match pairs are better to do on Valentine's. So you guys tell me what you think. We got some more comments. Ryan, do you know when the Lear market is on? It is on normally around the middle of February. If you go on Facebook and you type in the Lear market, you'll see their dates. They have a Facebook page for that. Normally it starts, I believe, the second or third week of February. It goes like February. I think it goes the second week of February to the second or third week of March. It's 4 or 5 weekends in a row. It doesn't matter which one you go to. They're all the same. Not that they're all the same. There's always the same amount of birds. If they do it when it's the Fugari show, normally there's busloads of like more English people in that, but it's still good. Um, I do recommend if you do go, dress warm. Let me see. Antonio says, let's have the biggest race in North America, Canada, US. If Europe can do it, so can we. Oh yeah. Well, it's possible to do it, but it takes a lot of organization, and I don't know. I think there's enough. I think there's enough big races. Everyone wants big races. What is a big
I,
race? Has anyone
I,
ever thought about this? What's a big race? Like, what are you people
I
thinking a big race
it,
is?
if I could say something,
Mm.
okay. For example, there's 14,000 pigeon flyers in Belgium alone. And Belgium, you could drop into probably Lake Ontario and still have enough room to take the large boat around it. So they have the volume of pigeon flyers so they can have large races. Now, you've got Holland, where you could drive to Holland from where you are, what, half an hour, 40 minutes, you're in Holland. Or the Ferrari race, 25 minutes. You're in Holland. And then you got Germany. So to have a large race, though, in North America or United States, we're so far spread out
Well,
that
I think you.
it's very hard. And
I
the
think
thing is, in our area here, we've got the EOC, we've got the Up North Combine, and we've got the Niagara on the Lake group, which they're all flying in the same direction. Um, and you could have a liberation actually every weekend with those three groups, and that would mean you'd have a liberation of probably 3 to 5 thousand birds every week. But the problem is that the people's operating this combines, they're so narrow minded that they're not thinking like this fella just said, let's have a large race. Uh, I'm just talking about our area. We could have a large race here every weekend from 3 to 5 thousand birds. But the people in this area, they're so narrow minded that this just don't go because, well, my pigeon's maybe going to fly with the guy from Niagara Falls, and I'm going to be out of the picture. No, that's how I'm saying small-minded people are, and the reason why they're so small-minded is they have not been educated in pigeon flying.
I don't think it's educated. I think there's just
Well,
losers. I think there's just
well,
suckable
no, no,
losers.
no, no,
No,
no,
there
no.
is. Yeah.
It's an
No,
Hey, my friend,
no. It has nothing to
it's
do with
an education.
it has nothing to do with education. It just has some people are just afraid. They're just afraid. That's all it is. It's not
Afraid of
education.
what?
No, because if it was education, they just look at the where the pigeons originate from, Belgium and Holland, and they could realize what the pigeons can do. But it's not
Oh,
that they're
okay,
not educated. They're
hold on a minute, hold on a minute. I think the
I,
young Belgium flyers. My father, he's a pigeon flyer, and what it is, son, when you fly the pigeons, you're gonna fly against so many birds from here, from there, and you're gonna do it. I'm saying that's an education. Here, people are going.
no.
Education is
Here they're just dumb. It's not education. They're just dumb. They're just dumb. I mean, I know it's yeah. We gotta educate them. Come on, let's educate them. Yeah, your birds can do this. Fuck it. If you can't see the forest through the trees, you're too stupid. You're stupid. That's all it is. Why can't you just admit it when someone's stupid? You know, what are you gonna do? Educate them? Hey, the ball's bouncing. Can you see it bounce? I have no time for that. It's a waste of my time.
what
Can I read the
I'm
comments?
saying. Why don't these combines get together here? I don't.
Because
The fellow there says a large race. I'm saying right here
they're
we
all
can have 5,000 birds
stupid.
a weekend.
They're all intelligently stupid.
Well, guess what? Admit it, boys.
I don't have to
Your
admit it.
pigeons. Hey, admit it, boys. In this area, your pigeons as stupid as you are. You don't give the
Okay,
chance
so
to the pigeon
can
to
I
get
just keep
smarter.
reading? Yeah, I know. That
Okay,
was a
go
good
ahead.
one. That was a good one, Ricky.
No, it's
Uh,
100% true. You
okay,
don't
I
give
got.
the pigeon a chance to be smart.
All right. I like to match pairs. I'm just waiting on the hopes of a couple upcoming auctions. Yes, I know you're waiting. I'm going to tell you something. Those who wait, you'll miss it. You have to get in the water and select. I'm telling you. And sometimes people say, well, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that, I'm waiting for that. Then it's not what you want. When you look at auction birds, when you see it, you go for it. When you see it, you go for it. Don't worry. All these breeders are all cut in the same level. The Chris Clarebutts, the Willie Daniels, the right here, you've got here Krista Becker. Go and look at the pigeons. They're all out of national ace pigeons. I mean, you can't go wrong. Hold on, I got more comments. You guys want big pigeons? Antonio saying, you guys want the big numbers of pigeons. Well, we all want it. It's again, it's easy to say I want big numbers. It's the same thing as is. It's easy to say my pigeons are going to fly 500 miles. That's easy too. But a lot of people just they talk left and go right. Shane says, I like to match pairs. It's good to know how the breeders would pair them. Yes, it is. Jason has a question. I have a question about Richard. His barn pigeon mix left. About his barn pigeon mix left. Barn
Yeah, they're
pigeon.
asking if I have any left.
Yeah, you still got that?
That's what, yeah, no, I eliminated them.
All right, Plugger's gone. That was fun. Antonio says,
Plugger's gone.
this is how the sport grows big numbers, large prizes. Ah, I know. No choice. If you fly in the concourse, you're in the race. Yeah, again, I don't
And
know. I don't know, Antonio. One-off races are big. There's a lot of big ones in the U.S. There's one-off races in China. They're flying 25,000 to 30,000 pigeons in a one-off race. It really makes the rest of the world like tiny. You know, some of the races in China are just over the top big, and I mean really big. Kayer, he puts I think three to 5,000 birds in one race. That's what he sends.
well,
You know, he has over 30,000 breeding couples,
wow.
and
And what is he allowed to?
he
Hold
lives
on a
in
minute. Is
Belgium.
he allowed to clock 5 birds at a shot, or
I don't know. He lives. He doesn't live very far from this area here, but he has a loft in Belgium, and then he sends a whack of birds to China. But in China, he's got 30,000 pigeons. So that just goes to
wow,
show you. And on the weekend there with Gerard Koopman, I think he had to have bought at least 30 birds on the first day. Mm. So it is what it is. Big numbers. I think big numbers is. I like to see small numbers and bigger prize money, but I don't think people can handle that. But big numbers is good, but it's hard to work big numbers. It really is hard to work. And a lot of people don't know this until they try it and see it. And a lot of people, I think, get upset at these races and go, oh, they're losing them, or why'd they lose them here, why'd they lose them there. This is big numbers. Big numbers are tricky. They're not as easy as you think. And again, I don't think the people breeding are breeding from a lot of the people don't breed out of the quality pigeons. They don't have them. There's people that just send pigeons to races and they don't fly them around their house. They don't race them. So the quality is garbage.
you're 100% right. You know, when you put out. We could have that Andy fella there. He's got his one off race. He put 1,500 birds he took in. I'd like to have him on the show. When you let those birds out from the loft, there's probably maybe 1,000 that don't even go off the board. They just sit there. And then you shake the stick and they go up and they land in a tree, they land in the field. I'm saying there's a lot of pigeons that don't have the umph to do it. And this is what happens. You get 25,000 birds or 3,000, 10,000 birds. They don't go, they don't go up. They don't want to fly. It's like they haven't got it in their soul. Like
Well, it's not. It's because the
they're like a
pig.
show fantail.
Well, it's just people send pigeons to the races, and because this is the new craze. This is a lazy pigeon man's way. Antonio Rodriguez says in Mexico they fly a one loft race, and the last race is a derby. 5 one loft races plus clubs and combines are all together. That's really good. I think that's super fun. I would be in for that. That that's good. But I mean, do you just take Southern Ontario and you look at the one loft races? I don't think for some reason, and I can't figure out why, these other one loft races don't want to do a collaboration on racing with and with the clubs or the combines. I don't know why. I can't figure that out. If you guys know why, like we said with the Pioneer, we would fly with the with the Up North Combine or the Niagara Falls thing, or we fly with the Niagara one there that Rick Fife puts on. We wanted to fly with the other one. Well, all those races there, and for some reason, there's no, they don't seem to want to do it, and I don't know why.
You
What do
know
you guys
why?
think?
I know why. I know
I don't.
why.
I have no
Because
clue
they
why.
don't have those Canuckies between their legs. So they, because they're not ready to compete. If you're ready to compete, you would say, my one off race, I worked, those birds are ready to compete against another one off race in my area, which we got 3 of them, but they won't do that. I'll tell you why. Because they're not confident on what they've done with their birds. Their birds aren't prepared to fly 300 miles. And that's what it is. They're a complete flop issue. And that's why it doesn't go. And this fella here that just came on, he said, yeah, that's a good thing. They should. One loft race, another one loft race. Let's get together within 100 miles across spread. Let's get together. Let's take them 300 miles, 350 miles at the end, and let's have a nice race. But they don't do that. Why? Because their pigeons can't even fly 150 miles. That's why they don't do it. It's a complete flop. We've challenged them, but they won't come on board. They won't. Why? Because they know we're going to kick their butt.
Well, and maybe it's not even about kicking their butt, but I don't know why they don't even want to try it. I mean, they can double sell it, so they make more money, which everyone wants to make more money, so you could double sell the race, which is good. The participants always like to fly an additional race. That would be good. But for some reason, for some unknown reason, it never happens.
Ryan, you can't double sell it when you know you're going to get your butt kicked, and that makes you look like a fool. So come right out and say we haven't worked enough with these birds. Pioneer Feathers Elite Pioneer Group have challenged us. Tell your group to go in competition on a final race, and they've challenged us. And what do we do? Oh, I'm sorry, but we're not interested. We're not interested. Why? Because they didn't work the birds. I know 100%. That's why.
Oh,
100%.
well, there you have it. But
Well,
hey, I mean,
I like to have somebody else come on the show, and I keep saying this every week. Get the Andy from that race, come on the show and explain. You've been offered, you've heard it on the internet. Rick Fife, come on. He's got that one loft race going there. Come on, let's go. Hey, combines, challenge the one loft race. We flew against the combine with our one loft race and we whipped their butt. Whoa, why? Because they're only pigeon keepers. They don't fly,
well,
they don't work the birds. That's
but
why. That's why.
it's just a
You're waiting
matter.
for the drywall to dry. You don't want to train pigeons. You know what it takes to train pigeons properly?
Okay,
40 hours a week.
all right. In Ontario, friction between clubs and combines has held the sport back. Well, that's a good way of putting it, Alan. But I don't think it needs to really be that frictiony. I mean, it's only flying pigeons, and the pigeons all go to roughly on the north course. They all go to the same spots. So it is totally doable as long as you step outside the box and get out of the little bit of the comfort zone. But again, if there's 100 flyers, there's 5 that are trying, Then there's another five that pretend to try and they're feeling good, but no. And then all the rest, they're basically just, I hate to say it, they're excuse makers. They're diddlers. They make an excuse why they're not flying, why they're not training, why they're not doing nothing. Oh, and their birds are always sick. So there's about 80 guys like that in every combine. Or, if there's 40 guys in the combine, that means there's three guys that are trying. There's eight guys that are competing a little bit, and then the rest are just excuse makers. And unfortunately, there's more excuse makers than flyers. So what happens is you get the excuse makers, they poison the leaders of the combine because most of the time the leaders of the combine, they're normally not good pigeon flyers either because they just have to have a high position. They can't fly a pigeon, so they get themselves into a higher position. And then they know that the big group of people who can't fly, they keep them on their side. So he keeps his power at the top and he keeps the people that are just really bad feeling good. And the people who want to get better in race pigeons, well, for you guys, you're hated because you know what you're doing. And that's only for the people who win races. That's what that's for. And it is what it is. We got a comment. I agree, but it takes leadership. No, pigeon combine doesn't take leadership, Alan. It's a great idea. That's nice. Leadership? No. It's called you have to be a liar. You have to be able to talk out of the left side and the right side. You have to be able to do what the math says, not what's actually good for the sport. I don't think leadership has anything to do with it. I don't know. I haven't seen any leaders. I haven't. But maybe there are leaders. Antonio says, this is the only way to save the sport, guys. You need to suck it up. Yeah, well, start sucking it up, guys. You guys got the one great thing in North America is it's so badly run that it can in a few years it could be great, but I just can't see it getting fixed. And the one loft races are absolutely terrible. I hate to say it. They're so easy. They're not trained right. They're not hard enough races, and I just think majority of them are terrible, like really bad, and people just line up for it. Maybe
Hundred percent.
I'm not trying to sound sour, but I really think like it could be. Well, the one loft people they can make the races great, but they gotta. I just think they look for the perch fees.
I if I can bring something out here is that they had that race over here. It was run. What was the name of it again? The big fella, Big Andy, he ran it, or
Mm-hmm.
he had birds come in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he hired a professional pigeon flyer to come and manage the race for him. And the fella came in for a few weeks and then all of a sudden uh, backed out, or maybe the Andy fella let him go. And then that race got stuck by management by a couple of people that don't even know how to fly pigeons. They don't know the difference between a rabbit and a
Right.
pigeon, or a
Okay.
goat and a
All right.
friggin' duck.
Okay.
And
So
so this guy here, he got stuck because the so-called guy hired to be the manager backed out. Well, or he got fired or whatever. I don't know what happened. Maybe he died. But then this guy here, he got stuck. And
okay.
so they still ran the race with people that really, honest to God, they don't
So
know anything about
right.
pigeons.
All right. Okay.
Okay,
And
that's what I heard.
okay. Well, that's good.
I heard it. You know that song? I heard it through the grapevine, and I think that's what happened.
Right. And that's great. And whatever that happens, and they made the best of what they had. Their plans got changed. So the people who had no experience had to do it. Okay. And they did the best they can do, and then this year they came back at it. I think they did a lot better job this year. But I'm like talking about like, and I know Tom Schillings is going to get all bent out of shape, or Jim Ward. But I mean, if you look at that Hoosier thing, you look at how that's run. It's just run ass backwards, and it can be so much better. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm just saying that all the races need to try to do better every season, and especially the ones that are the owners are making, four or 500,000 to $1 million. You better be damn perfect because you're taking this people's money. You have to be perfect. You're a 3-star Michelin restaurant. If you can't do that, you get out of it. But hold on. Antonio wants to know, can you explain to me what a mob flyer is? There's no such thing as a mob flyer. A mob flyer is a made up word. A mob flyer is a made up word by the people who don't breed a lot of pigeons or they can't win. They'll find an excuse and they'll say, that guy has 100 pigeons that he's racing a week and I have 10. He's a mob flyer. He needs 100 to win. He might need 200 to win. He might need 400 to win. He might need 500 to win. Does that make him a mob flyer? I don't think it makes him a mob flyer. He's just playing the pigeons how he wants to play them. And if he can test 500 pigeons in a weekend and you only want to test 10, you both have the opportunity. So you can't say that he's a mob flyer. You have to say he's putting a lot of birds in, and every time you beat his birds, you're beating the mob flyer. But most of the time, the mob flyers are they're pretty good pigeon flyers because they're in it to win it. They love flying pigeons. That's why people use the mob flyer thing. I think it's a bullshit
Hey,
statement.
hey, yeah, you know what? There's a guy locally here that flies 60 to 100 birds a week in the combine, the up north combine, they call it. And you could actually say he's a mock flyer, but he only scores one bird once in a while, two birds once in a while. He's flying 80 birds. If I call a real mob flyer, it's a guy that flies to win. And if he's putting 80 birds in, he should score 30 or 40 on a drop, just like that. That's a guy that knows how to train pigeons and have a mob. Right. But a lot of these guys that they call mob flyers, well, we can't compete against him. He's got 200 birds in the race. He's got 100 in the race. He only scores 2 or 3 birds, and that's it. The rest of them are like waste of time. Right?
Yeah.
I think a
So
mob flyer in a lot of cases is a guy that just pees away a lot of feed,
mm,
a lot of work and training,
well,
can't concentrate on the pigeons.
there's
You
two
can't
ways of
concentrate on a pigeon.
there's two
And you got to
types
ask yourself a question. Let me
there's
ask
two
you a question.
there's two
If
types
you
of
have
mob
one
flyers.
dog, if you have one dog, you can take
Mm,
good care of that dog. You love the dog. You know what
I
the
know.
dog's thinking.
There's two
If you
types
have
of
2 dogs, it's another thing. It's good. I
okay.
can do the same
Okay.
thing. But
Okay.
if you have 10 dogs in your house,
Okay.
you
Can I
can't
just for fuck's sake.
really do it.
Good. There's two types of mob flyers. There's the guy that has 250. He's out to say fuck you, and he trains hard, and he feeds heavy, and he does everything, and he pounds you into the ground. That's the one you watch for. Then there's the
That's
one
what
that has
I'm
250.
I'm
Well, there's those ones. There are those ones. But in Canada and the North, they don't have them. Those don't really exist. And you can't have mob flyers in Canada because you're only allowed so many birds. But I'm saying there's always two types of it. Okay, same thing. There's small lofts that ship 10 birds and they get super results and they're not complaining about numbers. Then there's a small guy that goes, I can't do anything because I only have 6 pigeons. Okay, so
Oh, I know that a
it's
hundred. I
all
know
right.
that a
We're
hundred percent.
we're saying
I
it's
know
both
guys
ways.
that they start off with 25 birds at the start of the season, and they lost them down to 12 pigeons. So you know what the guy says? I packed it in. I can't fly anymore. I packed it in. That means
It just means it wouldn't matter if he had 60 and he lost them to 40, he'd have packed it in because he's a loser. Unfortunately, that's what losers do. Let me get to the comments. Uh, Sean says, I like the idea of a one loft race, 100 to 300 birds, two bird entry per breeder. Now, I like that. I like the 100 to 300 birds. So let's go in the middle. Let's say 200 birds. That would be nice. But remember, for you to ask a guy all summer to do this, and if you're asking him to train them good, properly, and put that time in, I'm going to tell you the guy is going to need to make about 50 grand, 50 to 70 grand. And if you really want him to do a good job and he's an honest guy, make him make 100 grand. So you have to figure out, what are you charging per perch fee? Are you charging $500 a bird perch fee? That's a very good perch fee, right? And I'll tell you, if you have a one-off race with the prize money that comes up front, the perch fee that comes up front, and everything that comes up front, and the guy is honest and he's going to do the work, and you give him a small group, it will be a very good one-off race. But if you give the guy a $150 perch fee and you want him to take in 200 birds, after about 4 weeks in, he's going to look at himself and go, you know what, I got to go get a part-time job, or I got to go do this. This doesn't pay the bills, and it's a waste of time. I'm just saying, because at the end of the day here, everyone, let's be honest, we all got to make a bit of money. Let's get to some more comments. Big lofts are big entries equal large losses, in my opinion. Okay, we got more comments. Mr. Teal says, hell, I like to start my young birds with 120 young birds because I have new pairs that constantly waiting to test, and if I pay the trailer fees, I should be able to ship what I want. I do agree with that. I do think that they should get rid of the numbers of birds being shipped, and I'll open it up and charge the people accordingly. That's all you have to do. Antonio Rodriguez says, thank you. I say you're welcome. I am also a mob flyer. Yes, Van Zoren is a mob flyer. He mob flies with 20 pigeons, and he does really, really good, but he's a mob flyer.
Oh,
Sean says, I have several flyers in our club that fly 100 birds, and they get 20 to 30 birds on the drop. Then guys like me that start out with 40 get 4 or 5 on the drop, same percentages. Well, there you go. Hold on. Sean says, 500 perch fee and $1,000 entry fee. Let's see what the birds can do. All right, well, let me see. So if we did the Pioneer One Loft race in Toronto, and we said it's $500 a perch fee and $1,000 entry. If you would participate, you post in that you just write you're in. Let's see how many people write you're in. I'm in. Happy birthday, JDTL. The whole thing is, what people don't realize is, when you have a small race and you're running it, people say, well, how many birds are in your race? 150. And they kind of give you that look like, well, that's a garbage race. You need to have 1,000. You need to have 1,800. You need to have these big numbers. I think sometimes I would really like to see pigeons worked. Good, honest, hard. I like to see a one-off race go anywhere from 9 to 15 races, and I can have a bunch of 100s. I can have a bunch of 125s in there. I can have a couple 225s in there. Okay, I like that. I like them to go like this. I want to make sure you can see: up, down, straight, up, down, up. That's what I want to see. And I want to see something like that. And, I don't need it to go every 7 days. I need it to work on about every 4 to 5 days. Okay, so the loft guy doesn't have to train them. Okay, he gets them trained up for 30 days prior to the races, right? Let's say 4 to 6 weeks of training, getting them ready, getting them up to 60, 70 miles. and then boom, he starts. He starts maybe his first race an 80 miler, and then next one out is a 100 miler. Then the next one out is a 125 miler. Then they go to 175, back to 100, then out to 225, back to 125. Up, down, up, down, up, down, and make it a series like that. And then get rid of the prizes and just pay on ace pigeons. And there's no prizes for coming first. It's only in ace pigeons. So let's see. Uh,
You want to know something? We
yep.
tried that a few years ago, and I had fellas saying, "Oh well, he won $1,000 at 150 miles, and then he won 500 bucks at 200 miles, and that other guy won this money, and then they're going, well, that's kind of bullshit. They better off have it right at the end where we just separate all the money in one race. But that's not real performance in pigeons. Do you know what I'm saying? The guy's saying, well, why would you pay him $1,000 at 150 miles or 500 bucks? Oh, that's not even pigeon racing. That's not even, that's baloney. No, but it gives people a chance to make a few bucks on the way up. And if your pigeon's that damn good, it'll it will continue making the money through that series. Right?
I
Not
even I
okay.
even thought to myself doing a 10 race series of 100 miles, right?
Yeah,
Every day of the week for 10 days straight. Okay?
yeah.
No matter what, every day they go up at this time, and it's just a knockout of elimination. If you
Rain
can't
or
keep
shine.
rain or shine, you go to 100 miles.
Yeah,
I mean, as long as it's not raining at the liberation, you wait. Once it clears,
yeah.
then they go. But they go 10 days straight and just 100 miles. Real simple. And just see the birds and watch them play, you know?
I'll tell you those birds. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, was it, or the day before, we had heavy snow here. Heavy. And snow, steady snow. And I went up here to the local plaza, and there's like 150 plugs, barn plugs, sitting on the wire above the plaza. And I'm looking, and it's snowing like crazy, man. My pigeons wouldn't even want to come out, wouldn't even stick their head out the window to go out in that shit. And these plugs are sitting up there, and then it just so happened all of a sudden I seen the whole group take off. And they were heading for a town 6 miles west of us. And I'm going, wow. Like you're saying 100 miles per week. Get them out there and train them, give them some training.
Well, we have a few people that say that they're in. They like this idea. Well, that's good. That $500 entry. That's good. The only thing is, you got to get 100 entries for it to pay off the guy. If the guy gets 15 entries, it doesn't work. And this is the
Yeah.
problem. This is where you get into you have to give it to them for nothing to get them in and hope they participate, and then hope they have birds there to activate, and then hope you did a good job so they activate, blah blah blah, you
And,
know?
the other issue is do the people entering the birds have pigeons that are ready to adapt to the new situation? And we're talking about young bird sickness. And I believe a guy that says, I treat for everything. I do it 3 days of this, 3 days of that cold, 3 days of coccidiosis, 3 days of respiratory, 3 days of this, 3 days of that. I give them a half a day off. Then I put them back on again. I put them back on again. All those pigeons, they got
Uh,
zero tolerance to anything. They're
Oh,
basically couch
no.
greenhouse tomatoes. So then you put them into this one loft race, and they're going to get mixed up with all these different birds. And a lot of those pigeons, all these guys do this. Well, I got them on Coxie tomorrow. I got them on this the next day. I got them on that the next day. I got them. These pigeons are so chemically treated that they're basically vulnerable to anything that comes around. It's like,
Okay, so
hey Ryan,
can I make a
did you
comment
take
now?
your hey Ryan,
Yeah,
did
I
you
know.
take your cold medicine today?
Oh, all right.
No,
Good.
I don't
That's a
have
good.
cold. You
All
better
right.
take it, Ryan.
All right. Good. Uh,
I
Van
think
Zoren,
I'm right.
you are. Van Zoren says, what you say is Belgium flying short distance and then 5 or 6 times to the same place. My question to you are those pigeons better than pigeons that fly 100 kilometers further every week? No, my idea of going 10 times to 100 miles or whatever, 160 kilometers, whatever it is, it's just for people, it's just a different type of a competition for a one off race, 10 days in a row or 15 days in a row or every other day for a month. It's just something different and getting the birds out there. Again, I like going from 100 kilometers to 500 kilometers, go all the way up, go all the way down, go all the way up. To me, I don't give a shit, Alfred. But most of the pigeons are shit. Most of the pigeons can't do the work. And I'll tell you something. Most of the pigeons will do the 100 miles or the 100 kilometers with ease. And people are more happy and they see it. And the only competition is you make them do it multiple times per week. Just another idea. Either way, I don't really care. I don't think it's any different from the Belgian pigeons or the Dutch pigeons or the wild pigeons. It is what it is. Everywhere there's a little bit different,
Hey,
and that's what it
Let
is.
let me say something to Alfred. Don't you find, Alfred, that a pigeon that can do 2.5 hours on the wing or more is a different pigeon that flies only an hour and a half on the wing? And that shows
I
the
don't think so.
strength of a pigeon. A pigeon that
No,
flies an
no,
hour and a half
no.
on the wing is not the pigeon that can fly starting 2.5 hours on the wing.
I don't.
I
I
would
don't think so.
a lot of those pigeons that only fly 100 an hour and a half on the wing, an hour on the wing, when they get to 2.5 hours on the wing to start, they're shit. So
I don't
100
know.
mile racing, 100 mile racing is maybe 2 hours on the wing.
Yeah, but
It
that doesn't
shows
mean that.
nothing.
That does. Yeah, it doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything.
it means something to me.
Okay, but I'm saying
I,
pigeons.
I say you see a
They're
different pigeon that flies 2.5 or 3 hours or 4 hours on the wing or 5 hours or 9 hours on the wing than a
okay.
pigeon that only flies an hour on the wing,
Yeah, but
an
a
hour and
lot
a
of
half on the wing.
okay, a lot of good pigeons that fly 2 to 3 hours on the wing. They can't give you 6, 7 hours on the wing. They're not those kind of pigeons. There are pigeons that are like that, but they're very good in the shorter end. But they're shit. They're gone by the time they get to the middle distance. The
What
good
I'm saying,
you start to see good pigeons when you're over 6 hours on the wing.
what I'm
That's when
saying
you
is,
start
my
to see
friend,
them.
listen, if you start training your pigeons and you say, guess what? I got them up to 50 miles, 80 kilometers, and those pigeons are super duper pigeons. They just whip that off. They're coming home. They're super duper pigeons. They're ready for the races. They're super duper. When you put them on the wing, 2.5 hours, that's nothing, 2.5 hours. But those same pigeons that did what I just said before, you'll see it when they hit that mark. They don't have the guts.
Right.
So you're really not proving nothing racing them only in 100 miles. Nothing.
You're just making the competition for the candy ass flyers so the birds can go do the racing. That's it.
But
You,
are you what are you trying to prove
no,
with your pigeons?
nothing, nothing.
Nothing. It's just a
I,
pile
you
of
know what?
shit.
I don't give a shit. Make the races 500 miles. I don't give a shit. Make 25 500-mile races. I don't give a shit. Whatever way you want to do it. You think? What do you think? Anyone's going to do it anyways? No one's going to do it. No one does anything they say they're going to do anyways. What are you worried about?
No, we're just
you
discussing
you
it.
you wear me
I
out.
think Alfred's
Okay,
right. You don't
so
prove nothing in 100 miles,
I'm
150 miles. You don't prove nothing.
okay.
Zero.
So why don't we try it? Why don't we try it 15 times down the road, 7 days a week? And you want to know what? If we start with 100, how many will we finish with? How many will we finish with? Come on, everyone knows the answer. All of them,
We
won't
do
they?
10 races.
Yeah, well, all of them will
Yeah.
finish, won't they?
There'll probably a lot more will finish than those birds that were taken up to 350
I wonder though,
as young
if
birds.
you go every single day, right? When will you start to lose them? When will they start to pack it in? When will they say, "I'm going to quit"? That's a good question,
Ah,
eh? We're not
I
talking. We're
believe
not talking
I
every
believe
third day.
you're
We're not talking every
every day.
fourth day. We're talking every day.
Yeah, you got a good point there.
Okay, but you know what? Hey, we ain't never tried it, have we? So we all don't
No,
have a clue on what we're talking about. We have an
that's right.
idea. We have an idea. They all should do it.
Right.
Well, let's see. Who would like to do that? I'm in. I'm in for a team of birds for that. And you know what?
Yeah, we
You know what's so great? I don't have to ask you to train them hard. Train them out to 50 miles and then their jump is 100 and just go 10 or 15 or 20 days in a row.
if they're loft flown properly, train them out to 25 miles, they get jumped to 100
Um,
miles. That's it.
that would be a great time to start the idea of the 500 Percy and $1,000 entry, but they would have to fly in the first race. Okay, well, we can make all, yeah, we can make all that up. Races like that, you need sprint birds. I don't know. And again, you guys are thinking short distance. Can a short distance pigeon, and this is a question for the pros out there, not me, because I'm not a pro, can a short distance pigeon give me 10 to 15 days in a row at 100 miles? Headwinds, tailwinds, shoulder winds, and some bad weather. Because in 10 or 15 days, you are going to get headwinds, you're going to get tailwinds, crosswinds, and you're going to get a few bad weather days. Now, my question is, would you go into that race with a sprint pigeon, a middle distance pigeon, or a long distance pigeon? This is what makes this so much fun. We're getting outside the box. We're all a little weird now. We got some comments. The same healthy pigeons can do
Listen.
everything if they come from good pigeons. Yes, I agree with that one. Uh, are are y'all having a 2020? Oh, we're always having a 2025 race. We always have a race every year, JD. Van Zorn says, but it's still not good. You want to know what they can do, and you can't do that if you only fly short. And Alfred, I'm not saying that you're not right. I'm agreeing. I like to see the birds go out 500-600 kilometers. I think you need to. But I do have that little itch to try a race like that. And maybe it's 15 days. I mean, or you say to the people, we're going to do it if we can do it for 30 days straight. It'd be interesting to see just how those pigeons can do it. Or is it after 7 days you start losing pigeons? If they just say, this isn't for me, I don't know. Alfred says he would send all around pigeons, and that's what I would do. I would send all around. I don't know if I'd go with sprint pigeons, but I would go with pigeons that I know can do work. That's an interesting concept. And you know what? If you do it, you'll get some backlash because people will say make a joke of it because it's so easy. It's 100 miles. Oh, it's 100 miles. Well, let's see. Let's see how many pigeons can do that.
They can do it for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
10, David. 100 miles is zero. It's very little. It's nothing.
It's 2 hours.
They, they should do it, no problem. It should be just like walk in the park.
Right. And maybe the first, I'm just saying, not the first year, but you could say to the people, we're going to do the first 10 days 100, right? And then we have a buy-in again for another 10 days. Then you have a buy-in for another 10 days, and just to see the
I
group.
really think what will happen is the first 100 miles races, you're going to drop off. Let's say out of 500 birds, you're probably going to drop 100, maybe no, maybe 50, and then you're going to drop another few, and then what'll happen is the group will start getting a lot stronger, and
Mhm.
finally, 100 miles is just going to be a walk in the park. That's just like taking them 20 miles or 10 miles. Do you know what I'm saying? And the key to this whole thing is those things got to go up. If it's even just a bit of drizzle, they got to go up. I'm not
Okay,
talking pouring rain, but
I'm
don't put them up in the fog.
but what I'm saying is, at what point would they start to break down?
I think you don't want to train them much further than 25 miles because you don't want to be training them to like get the muscle up or the it's got to be kind of a 25 miles, then a bit of a shock. 100 miles is nothing to go from 25 miles to 100 if they've loft flown enough and they've been trained up to 25 miles. 100 miles should be the first race.
Okay, so hold on. Sean says, like that, Ryan. That's where my idea comes in. Your short races get it done quick. Give the birds a rest, and then start the traditional one loft race. Okay. Uh, I think that idea would be more investors for you could start your short races and still do the traditional one loft race. Yeah, yeah, you could. My personal opinion is on the 100-mile race every day, they better be able to fly it and better be able to. What is this? Better be able to fly. If they fly at home for 2 hours, they better be able to do it. Okay, they should be able to do it, and I agree. I'm just asking. I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see. I mean, guys, post in how many days before they start to wear down, or won't they? Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. Maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Shane Dennis
Hey,
says,
listen to me. I had years ago, I had open hole pigeons,
well,
open from right.
Shane Shane says this. Shane says this. Guys, it's still 1,000 miles in 10 days. I think it's probably harder than most think. That's my question. At what point, not day one, day two, day three, day four, but we're
Yeah, you're
talking
right.
about towards the end.
When we get to day 6,
Yeah, day seven, day eight. And I mean, very simple. You hit the first two or three races or four races, it's all headwinds because that we're saying if you start it on a week, because it's a week long and you have warmer temperatures and it's south winds and it's headwinds, you can have a whole week of headwinds. Where now that 100 miles isn't 2 hours on the wing, it's anywhere from 3 to 4 hours on the wing.
that's right.
So
And
so
plus the heat.
it becomes different, you know.
I
Well,
remember some years ago, they had a race from Berks Falls, 113 miles to where we live, right? It was extensive heat. They let them birds out.
mm,
No one got a day bird. They let a
mm,
thousand birds out. No one got a day bird.
now
Extensive heat.
good. That's just because the birds weren't trained for the heat. That's all the
Well, no,
most
hey,
of
there's a
the
thousand birds went
yeah.
up. and
Okay.
that means nobody trained their birds.
Train
I'm
them
just
early,
saying that's so tough.
train them earlier in the morning when it's cooler. They'll come even worse. Hold on. Antonio Rodriguez, he makes a really good point. I think with the 10 races, he says, I think the first 3 races, you'll get sprint birds. Then he says the next 3 to 5 races, you'll get middle distance birds. And then he says at the end, you'll get your long distance birds.
Yeah.
So it's, wait a minute. I'm almost hearing in this. It seems like everyone's a little bit curious. It kind of sounds fun. I mean, JD thinks it's easy, and I think it's easy. Alfred maybe thinks it might be easy. Then there's some guys here that say it might be harder than we think. Okay, I like that. One guy here says you might need all 3 types of pigeons. But isn't that so interesting to see something run that way? I like this. Let's see more comments. Then the distance birds would be better in the end. Okay, yeah. Okay. JD Teal says the question: where do you have this idea for? U.S., Canada, or Belgium? It would be fun to do it in anywhere. I think it'd be fun to do it in Canada. It'd be fun to do it in the U.S. And you want to know the great thing? You can get people will gamble easy on it because it's short flying. It's 2 hours, 3 hours tops, and every day you get to play with the pigeons. You can have a pool. You don't have to train the birds. You get them trained up 4 weeks out. You take them right up to 50 miles, and then you start the competition. And when I think about it, the more I talk about this silly little race, I say, boy, this is quite interesting. But I don't know. Would it be 10 races or would it be 15 races? I'm thinking 15. I'm thinking five, 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 and all together, no stopping. And you say every morning they go up at 10 a.m., right? 10 a.m. is the time, or 11 a.m., and the birds get basketed every night. Every night they get basketed, we do it again. So
Yeah. And
you can't starve them either. You can't starve them. It's not a
no.
trapping competition. You gotta have the right
Now,
groceries.
the other question too is if birds come home from that third 100-mile race and you see them every night's going to be basketing, and you see that thing sitting on the perch all humped up, and it's like, oh, what do you do with that thing? Do you put
Gotta
him in the
go.
basket and say
Gotta
you're
go
going
again.
again? No.
You have to. Why can't you? Because what? He's sleeping. I don't know. You have
Well,
to.
he
You have
can't
to.
hack it.
You can't. Well, the basket will fix it, as they always say here in Europe. The basket never lies to you. We got some more questions. May I say something about how I think you can best teach the pigeons? Sure, you can say whatever you want, Alfred. Um, because here in North America, a lot don't have quality of pigeons. They think they do. Well, sure. And that's why I'm saying a simple little challenge of 10 or 15 100-mile races every day of the week. This is where I think you'll really see people go, oh my God, my pigeons couldn't do it. And if they can't do it, I think it is telling you something. But I mean, I've never done it, so maybe I shouldn't even say that. We should see what it can do. Oh, here we go. Think outside of the box. Every day a different direction. I like that idea. A different direction. I I really think the one thing I do think on that is I think pigeons through the years are getting so straight line trained. I think that pigeons have lost a lot of the homing, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's they're a little different. That's even more dangerous. Going different directions with them, and birds that aren't from your loft. It's
We tried that before.
we've had some success and we've had disasters with it, and I don't know. I always think the one loft pigeons, they slightly always think there's somewhere else to go. And I think the more mentally tough is in. I think that around the clock stuff, you really can see them wobble bad. But
I'm
I
gonna
like the
tell you
idea. Go around the
right,
clock and try it.
right now.
Mm.
I tried that with these Icelandic whites because I'm figuring if I gotta go that way, and people saying, "Well, it's a dove release. What a joke!" No, no, no. If I gotta go east 15 miles and do one, and I gotta go south, and I gotta go this way, this way, and I tried it with 10 pigeons. Okay, pigeons that will come like bullets from 15 miles that way and take the same darn pigeons 5 miles the other way. They have an awful time coming. It's right now. I got about three out of those 10. Now I can take them, and I've eliminated seven. They couldn't handle that deal, right? And I'm not saying they're racing, but they're coming no problem. I'm saying if I take them 5 miles that way, drop them, I come home, they're home. It's not like they come home, 4 hours later, they got a problem with the three I got left. But the rest of them, those other seven, they couldn't handle it. They just
Mhm.
couldn't handle it. And it just totally shocked me. Say, hey, I took you 5 times that way, you loft flow. I took you that way 5 times. Then I switched you the other way, quarter of the distance, and it took you an hour and a half to come home. Finally, by the end of all this shit, I got three left that can handle
Well,
this torture.
and again, I think that's what Ian's saying is that could be interesting, and it is interesting. I think it'll be you're gonna lose them way in way shorter distances. I think you will. And I mean, hey, for the guy that can do it and have the thick skin and say it's okay, and for the people that put the birds in, shut the hell up and let them do it, and don't complain when you lose your birds. Then I think that's okay. But you know what? It's the people that get real upset. Um, Antonio Rodriguez says one release point. Yeah, it would just be one release point, 100 miles or wherever. Yeah, wherever the release point is, that would be where it would go from. I think it would be fun. Sean says, yeah, Sean says, what would the entry fee be? I don't know. I don't know what it would be. I really don't know. I never thought of it. I mean, we're just talking about it. I mean, it sounds like people like this silly little. It's maybe a Mickey Mouse idea. I don't know. Ricky, what do you think of it? Would you like to do that? Would that be something that would interest you?
Yeah, I would like to try it. I'd make it 10 races, or like you say, 15 races, 100 miles. And they go up at 10.
Hmm.
And if they got, I'd have to say 20 miles of good flying. The rest of it could be not so good. 20 miles of good flying. Um,
I mean,
yeah.
it's definitely interesting. And I can feel here on this show. I mean, how many people actually like the idea and would try it and would want to see something like this go? If you are interested, Ian, you're on. JD, you're on. If you guys are interested,
But, but, but then you
post
got
it
to
in.
think of young bird sickness. So how many birds would a fellow or person be able to put into this race? Because if you get that young bird sickness, and we all know, we all get it.
Yeah, well, that's just part of the game. We get what we get. I mean, we're not going to put in one bird to do this because it's not going to work.
No,
You
that's right.
probably have to put a 5 bird or a 10 bird team in and, make
Yeah,
people feel like they got a good chance at it, right? We're not,
that's
you know,
right. Yeah,
and then, well, what's the money and what's the prize money? Maybe you put your perch fee in, maybe it's 10 birds for $1,000. And when it's time for the races, every day you bet on the races. You have to keep buying into play. So, hey, it's 15 races. You know, Maybe it's $25 a bird per race. Hold on, let's see here. I think it's definitely interesting. I'd be in to try it. Okay. Uh, Mr. Teal says, honestly, 100, 200, 300, 100, 200, 350. I would rather fly. Okay, yeah, that's good too. You can do that. I don't know if you could do that. Are you talking about doing that in one, two, three, in 6 days? Go 100, then the next day at 200, then the next day at 300, then the next day at 100, then the next day at 200, then the next day at 350. Yeah, I mean, again, that's taking what I said and steroiding it, but I don't know.
That
That one I really don't
that's
know if the Pigeons
that's
would do that.
that's pretty tough because it depends on the day, the wind, the heat. You got a headwind. Those birds need time to rest. But the same is when you're going 100 miles, it's the same thing. If those birds go 100 miles today with a headwind of, let's say, 30-kilometer headwind, and it's warm weather, so they're going to fly, let's say, 3.5 hours. Then you're going to get them in. You're going to give them a drink of water. They're going to eat. Then you're going to basket them to go again tomorrow. They got another headwind or a shoulder headwind, and it's heat again. You can get that 3 days in a row. A lot of those pigeons are going to get pooched right out. They're going to be three out, 3.5 hours on the wing, 3 hours on the wing.
So
They're pooch.
Mr. Teal says do it in 20 days. Okay, I like that. That's good for 20 days. I think 20 days. I mean that could be doable. Before you get them to do that, I think JD would probably already have them trained pretty damn hard because you in 20 days you don't have a lot of room to screw it up or not screw it up for them to have a screw up. So you better make sure you got a lot of road work on them. But I think you can do that one as well. You can do that one. I think JD, you've already said that you think the quality in the US is quite poor. You won't have a lot of pigeons finish that one, guaranteed. Uh, Ian says, could you imagine trying to collect money every day? You would lose your mind. Well, you might not collect money every day. You might just say to the people, you go online and pay, or you don't, or you say, okay, we're going to do the 15 races. This is the birds you have left. This is you have to put your money in on race one.
I
It's all
think
in.
Ian's about right. Like, I mean, if you're gonna
Yeah, yeah.
do an everyday thing, then a guy's bird doesn't show up, and then it shows up, and it's what happens if it doesn't show up that day, and it's ready. It comes for the next day, or 2 days later it shows up.
Well,
Now, what do you do?
those are the details. So you just say when you start race one, you're going to do 15 races. Guys, what's the price per pigeon? Each race is $25. 15 times 25 is how much? Four races is 100. Eight races is 200. 12 races is 300.
Do you, do you want to know what I would make it?
What?
If the bird doesn't show that
You're,
day,
you're
he's
out.
knocked out.
Yeah,
That's it. Out.
there you go.
And that's the best way. We don't baby this stuff around. No, he's out.
Yeah, he has
And
to
you
be
could
in
even
on the
you could
day.
even make it if he doesn't come within a certain time of the first bird, he's out.
Okay, so Ian likes this. Put your money in the first race, and I agree. I mean, I'm not saying we'd even do this, but I'm saying, we're all dreaming. Just this could be fun. The question would be, each race has to have either maybe it has first prize money for the first bird clocked, and the rest of it goes for the ace pigeons. Okay, so every race there would be a winner of a percentage of money, and then the main prize would go to the end. So you could say, would it be $25 a bird per race? I think that's a good number. or I think 20. I mean 20. What's 25 times 15? Let's do the math. Where's Vanderyak for the math? 25 times 15. Well,
Oh shit.
125. No,
Three
125 would
hundred
be
and
five
fifty
races.
dollars.
125 would be 15. Would be five races. 250 would be 10 races. Yeah, you're right. What'd you say it was, Ricky?
I said 350.
350 a bird.
Didn't I just calculate that? I am a wizard,
Yeah.
man. I'm just. Uh, why did they call me Ricky Seven?
Uh, we'll save that story for
No.
another day. Anyways, no, but
I,
okay,
I,
so there you go. So you put a 10 bird team in, your 10 birds for 1,000, right? Birds only get trained to 50 miles
50?
to 50.
Okay, hold on a minute. I'm going to ask you something. How many birds are you taking in? Because
It's a 10 bird team. I don't
10
know.
bird team. But how many
No,
maximum birds are coming in? 500,
no,
1,000 birds, or 300
hold
birds?
on. Ricky, it's 375. You were wrong.
Oh, shit. I
Oh,
was thinking, yeah, I was thinking
Jade,
Canadian dollars.
yeah. No, no, so you yeah.
See, the thing is, when you start flying those youngsters and get them ready, they got to be loft flown. They've got to be loft flown. And I would say, what's the difference?
Okay,
Train them to
I know.
25 miles. Uh, I mean, if they're lazy couch potatoes and they're garbage shit
No, no,
birds, I hate to
no.
say it, boys,
Hold
they,
on.
they won't fly it
Oh,
anyways.
hold on. No, no, no. I know. Take them to 25 miles, and I'm fine with that too. But I'm saying, okay, we're gonna get them. I take them to 25 miles at least 5 to 10 times with one or two 50 milers, so they have an hour on the wing. 50% of it's already been completed, and then
Yeah,
you
an hour
start.
and a half on the wing. Yeah.
I think your idea is great. All the money, average speed, champion bird, whatever you decide, don't pay per race. Don't pay per race. Okay. And you know what? You can always leave the money per race and you can go on and do the pick birds. Remember how we did that on our site? The pick birds? So there is race money that you can put in. That's an idea. There's so many little ways. And then you know how we say an encore? Well, you can do an encore at the end of 300 miles, one 300-mile encore race. You can do another five races, 100 miles. I mean, there's so many options you can do because they're so well trained out by that point. Um, but
But
when
I
you
think
think,
I think I think every race, 100 miles, people should get something. Like the first bird maybe should get something, a little bit of something,
well,
like
you know
a
what? I
box,
don't,
maybe a box of chocolates or something,
yeah,
or like
ribbon,
like these,
a ribbon.
right? A ribbon, yeah. And then as the races. So when do you start paying out
At the end, this is for
a
the ace
little
pigeons.
on the top 10?
Maybe you pay the top, yeah, I mean, depends on how many birds are entered. You figure out what that number should be, right?
So I would figure out the top. What is it normally? The top on the high side, 10%. So you get 1,000 birds,
Well, let's say you got 500 birds.
but you got to figure what goes. I don't know.
You know
It
what?
sounds good. You just have to sit down and figure this out.
Yeah, and I mean, I still don't think that pigeons. I think sometimes the prizes that pay so far down that it's ridiculous. I do think that as well. I mean, for Christ's sakes, man, take a
I
take a look at
agree with what you're
take
saying.
a look at the Olympics. In the whole country of China, they send one runner for the 100 meters, and he's the best one out of 10 million Chinese people that run, or 200 million Chinese people that run. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that goes to represent. But I know everyone likes this. Everyone likes the money, right? Everyone likes to win some money.
Hey, listen, I know a race that went locally here, and one guy was say he told me, you know what, I won some money. I said, how much you win? It was $18. He won. Like, God, man, $18. It's not like, and then they didn't want to send him the money because it was too much for the envelope and too much for the whatever it was, right?
Mhm.
I'm just saying it's ridiculous. I say maybe if you're going to do what do you want to do? A 15 race series? I would say after 10 races, we start paying out money. That means you got to make it to qualify up to the money where we
Mhm.
start paying
Now,
some money.
now, my other question would be: do you think the same birds will? I don't think the same birds will win all the time. I mean, will there be the same big drops? I mean, just think of how fun it is.
There will be the same birds winning. There'll be pigeons that are unbelievable super. I tried it out some late breds here, and I picked out a pigeon, and I said, "You're not going to be gone. You're not going to be gone." And I've been letting them out. I've been letting them out at certain times, and I've had hawk scares, and I've had stuff. And out of three, I picked the one
Okay,
still here.
so
So that
guys,
tells me my eye picking that pigeon. It's like
okay,
my eye
all right,
picking a soccer
good,
player or
right?
picking
I
a
know.
baseball player. You got to have that eye to pick it.
You're like Jesus Christ, you're incredible. My question for
Wow.
you, Antonio Rodriguez says, what about paying out for the ace pigeons, the top 1%? So the top 1% of whatever birds get entered into the race. So let's say we had 500 birds get entered in to race number one. I'm just going with this number. 500 birds would make, what would be the top 1%?
Five pigeons
So that
would
means
be
at the end
five
of
birds.
15 races,
You get
five
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 birds.
pigeons will make the money.
That's what I think is a good idea. They
Ooh.
got to make
So
it to that level.
okay,
It,
so
it's like it's
Alfred
like you know,
Alfred
it's like
says Alfred says your father's right. There will be the same every time. The smart pigeons. Well, it'll be interesting. But again, will the smart
they
pigeon
hey,
that's in the headwind do it? The same smart pigeon in the tailwind do it?
hey,
The crosswind do
listen
it?
to
I don't
me.
know.
Listen to me. The athlete will do it.
That's right.
The real athlete will do it. Athlete will be in condition. Athlete mentally in condition. True athlete will do it. And that is, I believe, will show in
Okay.
the end.
So my next question to everyone is
Not the
no,
pigeon that comes first in the
no,
first two or three races.
no.
No, he's not. He's just a one-time wonder. But to make it to that end point,
Okay.
let's see how it is.
So my question is it 10 races or is it 15? And what do people like? 1% or 10%? I mean, again, I think it depends on the amount of birds entered as well. I think if you're
Well, I think.
maybe if you're under 250, you go 1%, or if you're over 500, you go I don't know.
Excuse me. If you take 1,000 pigeon flyers in this area and you say 10%, that means 100 of them should get paid out. There's no way.
No way.
There's
That's
there's
10% though.
no way 10% of the pigeon flyers around here got the brains, got the work power to make the pigeons do it.
Okay,
If you're paying out 10%, that's a joke.
hold on. Sean says no way, Ricky. It'll be different birds. and this is what makes this super fun. I mean, maybe we'll do this year. If if we put it together, I just hope people support it if that's what we decide to do. But again, I can see people not supporting it because it's silly, it's different, it's weird. And that's where you say when you sit here and you plan something, when you get really outside the box with what we're doing, it's normally when it doesn't happen. Is because the people just you overthink yourself right off the cliff.
Okay,
Van Zorn says,
I would have to say is if you're the organizer of the race, you have to say we've discussed it. We think it's a darn good avenue to explore. We are willing to do it. Bottom line, we need a minimum of so many birds at this price. And that's it. It's not like, okay, we'll put it out there. Oh, guess what? I got two guys signed up. Oh, next month I got one guy. Oh, oh no. We only got 10 guys signed up. Oh shit. I'm not gonna drive my pickup truck for that kind of money and loft fly and worry about
hold
the
on.
baloney.
Okay. So, hold on. Smart pigeons. Okay. Smart pigeons, it doesn't matter what wind. Your father and I are on a higher level together. Well, Alfred and you are on a higher level than me, and I'm good being at a lower level because you know what, guys? I'm still earning my wings. Um, Sean says 10 races, top 5% payout. Okay. Mark Carnwell says, I like the idea. I'm in. JD Teal says, what about a 1, a 150, a 100, a 150, a 100, a 150, etc.? Yeah, JD, I like the idea. I do. Again, I'm wondering every other day. Yeah, you can do that every other day.
Hey,
We're going to drive
hey,
an
hey,
extra 50 miles. You know what? I don't. I don't want to give them a day off, day on, day off, day on, day off, day on, day off. I just say,
let's do it this way. 10 or 15 races, 100 miles. What's that? 100 miles, 120 kilometers, 130 kilometers or something? No,
no, 100
I can't
miles is
remember what
almost
it is.
160 kilometers.
160 kilometers. Okay. 10 days or 15 days, 160 kilometers. You know, in 15 days, sometimes it's downhill racing the bicycle. The
Yeah,
next day, it's this way
and
racing the bicycle. The next
oh,
day, it's up, day,
hold
up,
on,
up, and up,
hold,
up. That's a
hold
very
on.
hard.
If if
We,
if if we were if okay, can I just talk for a minute? If we were flying in
yeah,
Texas, I would say maybe JD could be right because they predominantly get tailwinds on the courses they fly. I'm saying where we are, the birds are going to be always around 1200 or lower. And
and
I think
I'm
if
going to
the
say,
course is fair, I think that 100 miles, I think that's all you need, providing
uh,
you go every day and you follow it
uh,
along.
uh, let me say something. If you go on the East Course here, 100 miles every day, whoa,
You're done. Done like
you're
dinner.
not going to make it to 15 races, my friend. It's not going to go. That's a tough one. That's very tough.
Okay, so look. Sean says, JD, let's see if they can do 100 first. Then, if it doesn't test them, bump it up next year. Yeah, I'm saying maybe a little bit of. I would rather go to 15 than 10 because I know at 15 she's gonna get tough those last five for sure. It's gonna be. Mark Carnwell
Yeah.
says, I like 8 at 100K. Okay, you see, guys, this is I think this is interesting because we really don't know because it's not done. So we are all kind of wondering, well, what birds will do it? What how many will you? And that's another thing. How many birds, if you go to race number one with 500 birds, how many birds will complete it and not get bumped out. If you miss a race, you're out. You get put on the
You're
side and
right.
you're out.
And I would almost say if you're not there within a certain time of
No,
the first
we're
birds,
not. We're
and
not
no,
going to do.
I'd be generous too. I'd be generous. I'd say the first birds, if they were, let's say they were 3 hours on the wing from 100 miles, you would allow the pigeons after that to be maybe an
Okay.
hour and a half. That's
No.
what you would
So
allow.
so
And
so
if they
hold on.
didn't come in
So
that
no,
time,
just
they're
stop.
banged out.
You could
Huh?
have an extra buy-in competition where you do this. The first bird that clocks, right? If that
Right?
bird was on the wing for 3 hours and 2 minutes, the race only stays open for 3 more hours and 2 minutes. If you're not in that time, you're
You're
bumped
right.
out of the competition. That's a
Well,
buy-in
that's lots
competition.
of time.
That's a
That would be
buy-in
like five
competition.
hours on the wing.
Yeah,
Huh?
that could be a separate buy-in. You know what I'm saying?
But you got to look at it like this too. You got to figure it out. Is so many meters per minute. So in other words, if the bird falls lower than those meters, he can't really fly. He's got to be riding on the back of a transport truck or
Or, or,
took a taxi cab or he
or,
was walking.
or you can say, to make it easy because it's only 100 miles, if the birds from when the first bird comes in, the clock runs 1 hour. After 1 hour, those birds that don't come, they're bumped out of that competition.
He's out.
That would be interesting. I'm saying to have that as a separate buy-in for the first time out, so people don't get all bent out of shape. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you mean buy in? They can buy back in?
Okay. So you just have the regular race, like we just said. It
Yeah,
goes. You have to be home within the day. You have to be. Okay.
in the day.
On the day. Please, God,
Yeah,
focus. What I'm telling you. The regular
you said
race,
on the day.
15 races. Your bird has to
Mhm.
come in the day to qualify to the next race. If it doesn't come home on the day, it's out. Okay? But if you want to have like a specialty race, right? It's an extra buy in and you have a 1 hour knockout. So the bird, if it misses it, it gets knocked out of the extra buy in competition. Never mind, it's way over your grade. I can tell. You can't figure that out. That's why we don't
First
make
of all,
extra shit.
first of all, you told me if a bird's flying 100 miles, it's got to be home on the day.
Yes, that's for the main series of races. If you want to sell the people a fun game in within the game.
Well, this is a candy ass setup you got here. I'm telling you the truth. If
All
a
right.
pigeon
Actually,
comes from
enough of that.
100
I don't even
miles
want to do
and it
I don't
takes
even
him
want
5 hours to come home, what the hell did he do? He's got
Dad,
no
Dad,
chance, man.
Dad, Dad, Dad. You're not
What?
understanding it. You're whatever you're doing, fine.
I
Forget that
understand what you're
idea.
doing.
Forget the idea. If Ricky can't figure it out, most of you won't figure it out.
I can figure it out, but what I'm saying you're doing candy ass shit.
No, you're
Like, where
having
the
the
hell were you?
oh my God. You're having the regular race for the birds to try the whole series out. But for
Right.
people that have big dicks like you, that, oh, I could do it. Yeah, buy in another buy in, and it's a knockout. It's a knockout from the buy in competition. It's an added race. That's all I'm saying. Can I read the comments? Because you're pissing me off now. If you just pay the best average, it wouldn't really matter if a bird missed a race, missed a day. Well,
That's right.
sure, the bird, if you're paying average, the bird has to finish all 15 races. So it has to. Oh, but he's saying it wouldn't matter if a bird misses a race. I
Well, the
guess you could
bird,
you could, yeah, but I'm saying if a bird misses a race, he's hurting or something's wrong. If he can't make it on the day, there's something wrong. I don't
from
think it's
100
smart to
miles.
put him back out there. Let me get to the comments. You basket the birds in the evening. Whatever birds are in there, that's what goes. And that's right. Always basket after nightfall, right? Like I say, 9 o'clock at night, basket them all, or 10 o'clock at night, or 11 o'clock at night, basket them. Uh Sean also says knockout birds are shipped that come home that evening. Let the basket eliminate the weak ones. Okay. Hey Alfred, how's it been? You can play there are enough of your birds all around here that you could get a couple. I know guys that have your birds around here that would be more than willing. Well, there you go. It sounds like Ian's in. That's good.
I would say that birds that are they come, let's say they're supposed to be home in an hour and a half or 2 hours, and it takes them 8 hours, and they're sitting on the perch, they're all humped. I wouldn't put them back in the basket and send them up, because
I
that
just,
to me,
okay.
okay, I'm just being, you could see that bird it's done. So I wouldn't be putting them back in the basket and send them up. You
Okay.
might
Well,
as well say, hey, I might as well
then,
put them in the garbage pail.
okay. Well, then what you're going to do is you're going to have people say that you're playing God. And when the bird's down to the last race, and you decide he's too tired, right? And you pull him out, then you fuck the guy, and then what happens there is people get mad at you. So you know what? Really, send them. If they make it on the day, they can go back. I don't know, but if you're going to be playing God, it doesn't work.
Well, are you a pigeon keeper or a pigeon flyer or what? You can see it right there. Hey man, this bird can't even get off the floor to get a drink of water or go on the perch. I'm not going to put him up there and what, drop him in the park? That's
Rick,
what I'm saying, right?
Ricky,
I don't think
Ricky.
that's fair.
All right. Well, when you open the basket, you always know what happens when you open the basket.
If he doesn't want to come out,
You got
he's going
60
for a
seconds to
ride
come
home.
out. Then he gets to ride home. No, I'm not. We're not. I don't know.
No, I'm just
Uh,
saying that's not being a professional pigeon flyer. When you see the thing, it just like holy mackerel. Everybody was home in an hour and a half, 2 hours. You took nine
well,
hours.
hold
Now,
on
if
a
you
sec.
look fresh like a daisy,
God,
okay, you can go.
okay,
But when I see him sitting there and he's wobbling, I'm not sending him back.
okay. So you people aren't thinking. You're thinking 100 miles is easy. It's easy. You're all saying it's easy. You're all going to be home in 2 hours.
It's,
Ooh,
it's
two
not
hours and
easy,
5 minutes.
right?
But you're not listening. Even Shane, look what Shane's writing. The birds that are way behind or miss one day would be so far behind in the average that basically it's over. Well, if a bird comes late in the day on race two, right, and on race four, it's a smash and no bird comes home except for your bird that was late on the day, well, then the bird moves up. I just think the birds have to make it in the day. If you want to play God and say, well, that bird looks tired after four races, well, I'm I'll let you call the people because
Well,
I'm
I
not
would I
playing
would
God.
say hold on a minute. If the majority of the birds take 2 hours to come from 100 miles, okay, let's give them one extra hour. That's okay, an hour's grace, and they should be there. Birds that'll come in that 3 hour mark, let's say, they are. It's okay. But birds that come after 5 6 hours, they're either dumb or they just don't have it. They're
Uh,
weak. They're shit. So why
okay.
send them back? I'm just,
I don't know.
yeah,
We have to
I
work
know,
out
I know, I know.
you have to work out the kinks because it's gonna I know what you're all thinking. 2 hours, 2 hours. You're gonna have birds that struggle, that made a wrong turn, that a hawk went through them and got it all screwed up. That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
So just get off the 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. You know what I want to see? I want to see the pigeons do it. Don't tell me they're going to do it. Let's see them do it first.
Wait a minute. A pigeon that flies 2 or 3 hours after the race, after when they should be, you got to think of it too. He could be flying and getting himself in better condition for the next race,
Ricky, you
right?
can't put limitations on the birds coming home. This hasn't been tried, so we don't know. We just let the basket do the work. And the basket's going to do the work. Anyways, you know what? Everyone's into this. This is good. Mansker racing. The problem with that is it doesn't let a bird make a mistake and learn from it. That mistake by overflying or heading to a new direction by pulling them out an hour after. That's right. You don't pull anything out, you let it run the race. If you want to do a time trial buy in, you can buy the birds into that. And they still go the whole races, they just get time eliminated. I tried to mention that, but Ricky couldn't get that one. Oh, 15 days in a row. Speed, 15 nights in a basket, as shipped every night. That won't be easy, I guarantee. If 500 birds start, and the top 1% after 15 weeks will be the good ones. I think Ian sees it the way I see it.
I
Van
believe it.
Doren says the pigeons that arrive too late can be sent there for 2 days and then taken on a flight again. But then it screws up the whole, I don't know. I'm really
The
thinking just
average
leaving it at 15 days and let the basket do the eliminationing. They put the music on here in the hotel, so you know what that means, eh?
time to go to bed.
Well, we've been on for 2 hours. We didn't really have anything to talk about tonight. So I think you guys like that race. I don't know. I don't know if we should think about that.
Okay, so what kind of participants do we need in this race? Do we need 100 people with 5 birds entry per person?
Well, the question you got to say is what should be the team? Should the team be 5 birds, 10 birds? You know, I think a 5 or a 10 bird team is good. Or I don't
I'd
know.
say a 7 bird team with you could say 3 birds are gonna
No,
four
no, no,
birds will,
no. You pay the perch fee up front. You pay the prize money when it's time. Forget it.
when
Forget
it's
it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? As the loft manager, he gets paid first. I'm sorry, but I see enough of this shit. The late birds might do better at the end of the races. Hey, you don't know. This is what we're going to find out. It almost sounds like this is what we're going to do.
No, but you know what we're talking about? You're saying being outside the box. We're talking a different avenue. Uh, a different avenue in pigeon racing. I mean, probably 100 years ago, 200 years ago. I don't know when it started. That was a big deal to fly 50 miles or 30 miles.
Yeah.
Now,
If,
now
if
we
you,
expect a young bird to fly 350 miles and be home in like 7 hours or 8 hours or whatever. And I know 30 years ago, for a young bird to fly 300 miles, that was a great big issue. That was like, wow, we don't know if we're going to get birds. We don't know if we're going to have day birds.
well,
Now it's just like, oh, hell, let's just take them to 300. Oh, next 2 weeks, we're going to take them to 350. Wow, just boom. You know,
well,
I
so
think the birds are getting better.
Ian says, does it make sense for you, 50 guys, 10 bird team? Yeah, I think 50. I think a fifth. Maybe you make the race for only 50 guys, 10 bird teams. I think that's a good. I don't mind that. The thing I like about 10 birds is you give it like the way it is, the way it should happen. 10 birds come in, 2 birds die of sickness, 1 or 2 birds get lost off the roof. You lose two more in training. You go to the race with between 4 and 6. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. And no one is able to put birds in like one bird or two birds or three birds. That's unless they want to
No, no,
pay
no,
for that
no,
premium
no,
price. No,
no.
no,
Just leave everybody. So I don't want to hear whining and bitching and oh, I only put one in and
no. Well,
anyways,
if you want to only put one bird in, you pay the same as a fellow that put
yeah, yeah,
10
yeah.
birds in.
You want to put one bird in,
That's it.
it's 1,000. You want to put 10. You want to put two birds in, it's 1,000. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. If you think that you're, you got the best bird and it can do it, it costs you $1,000 or whatever it costs.
okay, so hold on. We got another question here. We're gonna keep going because you guys are participating good, even though it is late. But you know what? Again, I like doing these shows when we are all participating and we're all getting outside the box. And guys, everyone's ideas are good. There's no right or wrong. We're just talking. It's all okay. What does Sean say here? It's all going to depend on the entry fees. We don't know if they can do it. This may be the next big race series, but you gotta get enough people interested. Well, I'm thinking at $375 an entry fee, that's $25 a race. You do the perch fee around $1,000 an entry for a team, and you do this. This is what we do. When training starts, you have to get your activations in. All the activation comes in. If your bird gets lost, you get that reimbursed, but the prize money comes in, gets it in. So when you do it, you're not waiting on people. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or you can do this. You can be really really good. Say once the birds are loft line before the first training toss, entry fees have to be in. We don't start training until the birds are entered. And then that way the pot is the pot. I like that. I think that's good. This is some good music in here. I'm questioning my life decisions right now. I'm sitting in a hotel at 4 a.m. And look at, I got my friends with me here. And we're all down. I'm getting down with the woodland fairies. Please. You think okay, wait, here's my question. Do you think we could get 50 guys?
50 guys with what, 10 birds each?
Okay. And I like what Ian said here. I do like what Ian said. He says, just my opinion. I like prize money up front, so we know the prizes before we start. Now, if you do a 10 bird team and it's 375 a bird, you're going to have a lot of prize money up front. I don't think you're going to get most guys to give you 10 birds. My question is, could there be that 50-50 ground where you say birds are out loft line, so birds have passed the sickness, right? Before we start training, all the activation fee for the birds that are remaining there come in. I think I think you can get away with that. I think you can get the 10 birds, and I think you give a little leeway because I don't think you're going to get 10 birds at $375 a bird. That's what is that? I can't even do the math. 3,000 that would be $3,750.
3,500.
So you're in it for 4,700. I don't know how many people are willing to put 4,700 in. I don't think you're going to get that.
Then
But
what's your
again,
payout? What's your prize money going to be?
well, if you had 500 birds, what's 1%? My math, it's too late. I'm doing good. I'm still
Wow.
going strong. I
Yeah.
can't. Hold on.
No. 1% of how much?
My next
Uh,
song's coming. I'm just getting ready. You know what we'll have to do? We'll have to, or you know what you do? You say the activation is 275 a bird. When the birds come in, you're no, just just lower the cost of the prize money. Yeah, you could do that as well. You could lower the price. So you could say it's two. We have to figure that out. We have to figure out what the number is.
and then again, 500 birds is quite a few birds. Really.
Well, everyone likes
Like,
500 birds. Everyone likes big numbers.
yeah, I know, but I know last year we only had 100 and something birds, and that was perfect. Those
Yeah,
birds,
whatever.
they went out every day. They were flying good and all that. You get 500 birds, that's a lot of birds to get off the roof.
Yeah, I
Let's
mean,
be honest.
maybe you can do 50. You can do 50 bird 50. You know what you do then? You do 250 birds, and you do five bird teams. And you do like Ian said, you do the prize money right up front with the birds. Everything comes in right up front.
Well, look at last year. We our last race we had how much was it in prize money? 20 something thousand. Like, but there weren't that many birds, but it worked out almost equal to where people were flying against 1,500 birds. Like,
Here's the thing:
the way it was.
if you made a five bird team for $1,000 perch fee and $1,000 entry fee, so you got to send your five bird team $2,000. Is $2,000 up front too much to ask? 50 teams, five bird team, 2 grand. Your prize money and your perch fee is up front. We only take 250. That's an interesting question. That's an interesting concept. Does that work? So you still have the same. You have 50,000 in prize money. You have that 50,000 in prize money, and you pay the top 5 or 10 ace pigeons.
That's way better to manage. I don't know how a one loft race with 1,500 birds. I'd like to really do a study on how the people manage the birds to really get to know the birds, look at the birds, have them loft fly properly, really manage that group of birds. Like how they do that. You get them to loft fly properly. If you let out 50 birds, they loft fly, but they don't loft fly if you let out 20 birds. 25 birds. If you let out 100 birds, they don't loft fly like 25 birds. 200 birds, definitely. Like, and now you got 1,500 birds. How do you manage that loft flying? And loft flying is very important for a young pigeon. Very important.
Right.
Very
So
important
we,
to
we got
ramble
we
to
got okay.
range.
Right. We know
There's
that.
no way, there's no
Can we
possible
just can
way
we
that
can we just
1,500 birds can ramble.
okay? So can I read the comments? I don't want to get into that shit now. I'm just trying to think of what people are
Well, I'm
saying.
just saying, we're just talking about how many birds can come in properly and
Okay.
do it properly.
All right. We're just so Shane says $375 a bird. If you took 500 birds in, that's $187,000. Obviously, you might lose some, so you're going to be around 150,000. That's good money, yeah. Ian says if you went 150 a bird, that would be 75,000 in prize money. Pay the top 10. That's still good money. So you know what? I think there is a middle ground. I think the 375 is nice. Now, would people rather have the 375 or have the money up front? That's the question. You know, I mean, what's too? You know what? There's so much to think about, and again, we can come back to this. Uh, but it sounds like people are interested in this race, and I had to be overtired to come up with it, and I'm at a club now. I'm good.
Let's. How many races we're going to go? 15?
15,
100 miles
100 miles.
every
That's
day.
that's 15
Every
days.
day. Oh,
Man, we talked about it being easy. The
oh, it's easy for the first 5, maybe.
hill will be steep. The hill will be mighty.
Oh,
The hill will be dangerous. And you know it'll be so much fun? All of our expertise, all of us here on this show, we're all experts a little bit, right? We all think we are.
yeah.
But nobody's ever done this, so we really don't know how far we can push them before they'll break. God
Yeah,
damn
you're
it,
right.
guys. I told you to get out of the box and look at we're all outside together. We're talking big money. Wait a minute. We're getting
There's
excited
only
over
5 or
100
6
mile
of us.
racing. 100 mile
How many
racing.
how many of us are on the show that want to go for it? What, 3 or 4 guys? I haven't heard anyone knocking it though on this
Uh,
show.
Here's Tony. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Tony's new on here. I would do something else too. Every person who brings a pigeon in for the race should put 200 per bird, and whoever wins should get all the money plus the winning price. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I don't know nothing about racing because I'm just getting in there, but that is something I would do. Yeah, you could have something small like that. I don't know 200 a bird. I don't know about that, but I'm thinking you could do $50 when they drop off their birds for the super bird. You know what I mean, or something.
So that's what I'm saying. This Tony fella, he's new, he's watching the show, and like I say, there's other people watching the show that are thinking about it, and they're watching it and they're getting ideas. You know,
Well, you know what?
right?
Maybe we should do for fun, right? Maybe we should put up like I don't know because we got a little bit of time. We got maybe the next couple Monday nights. I'm not saying that's all we're going to talk about, but maybe we should put up a maybe two or three options, right? Two or three options, and see what people vote for, what people like. I don't know. Shane's got an idea here. If you went, if you went Ian way, just charge $2,500 a team when they drop off the birds. That would leave a guarantee of 75,000 in the pot, which is good. So five. So what Shane is saying is $2,500 for a 5 bird team. Ian says it won't be easy as everyone thinks. I think we're right. Again, we're. I mean, shit. You drive every day. You drive. You have to think about it. Not only do they got to fly home, but they got to drive up and back and up and back. Hey guys, what are you gonna send? Cocks or hens?
And where are you going, north or going east?
No, no, just go north. or north or east,
North.
either or. I don't know. I think
I'm just saying east is a lot harder.
I think we better just go. I think north.
No,
What do you think?
I think east it'll be very hard. I don't know what other people think, but with that, they're going to get that northwest wind always right in the shoulder, or they get a west wind right in the face. And then if they get east wind from here, it's usually rain. Rain.
Well,
It's
you
going
know
to
what?
be,
These are all things you got to think about, right? You gotta think. You got to think. What's the smart way?
I think for an experiment, I'd have to say it's kind of an experiment. I would go north.
I would, because I think if you go north, you are going to get a headwind, you are going to get tailwind, and you're going to get crosswinds. I think if you go east, you're going to get predominantly always headwinds.
Yep.
And you know what? That's
And
going to
if you
get
get a,
real
yeah,
grueling.
an east wind
Just
in this
be
area
quiet.
is always rain.
James Brown's playing right now. Okay.
What's he going? Wow, baby.
Yeah.
We can't hear it. Can you ask him to turn it up, please?
Ian wants us to
Can
go every direction. Ian, it's just going to be an MXC elimination. Jeff Henderson says, I think 1,000 miles, 10 days would be stretching when you have to fuel them each day. Well, they're gonna use a lot of reindeer corn. They're gonna be on a full reindeer corn. You know
Well, at
what?
first
We're gonna
they can
think
be
about
light
this.
at first.
We're gonna think about it. Ricky, we're gonna come up with an idea, and maybe
The
we'll do
first
this.
three races they can be light on light feed,
Yeah, you're
and
nuts.
then we
Don't do
start
that.
adding.
Don't do that. Don't play,
Like,
Ricky.
you
Don't
want to
play
keep them
against
overweighted.
you.
You want them
You
out
better
there
have
to make
fuel
them
in the
feel like they want to race.
you better have fuel in the tank.
Well, you don't need much fuel for the first 300-mile races because it's nothing. But once they pass that, it's going to be now. They got to get a little more
Well,
fuel.
I guarantee you, at night they'll eat the potatoes.
Well,
What a fun show. We've been on for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I liked everyone's comments. I think everyone really put a good effort in tonight. Again, I do want to let you guys know we got some super birds at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions that we're running. Check them out. Check out the Krista Becker birds. They're all out of his National Ace
mm,
pigeons. Check out Anna Gochan's match pair. Check out, obviously, check out Bosman's and Leakins. So there's your Krista Becker auction running right now. There's Bosman's and Leakins running right now. And there is your Annex Gochan. Reminder, guys, the Pigeon Boss Awards. Send me your results if you have them, and they're from birds from Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. Send them in. That way, we can give you some cash prizes. And hey, maybe that cash prize, maybe that'll pay for your entry. Who knows? Or half of your entry if we do a race. But Ricky, I do see the interest. I do have a good feeling. That's a good sign. And you know what? It's a totally different kind of race. I like 300 miles. That's all fun. But you know, sometimes you know that saying, "I've been there and I've done it."
yeah.
This is way different.
This could turn around a whole different aspect in pigeon racing,
Yep. Oh, Gerber
right?
says someone has to try something new. Fill a bus up. Fill a bus up with pigeon fanciers. Drop them off 200 miles away without cell or GPS and see who makes it home first. No
That's a
taxis
good one.
or Ubers allowed. See, Gerber's thinking, what would be fun?
That's that's good. Yeah. Put a bunch
Hey,
of pigeon flyers on a bus, send them to Montreal, and tell them they got to find places in Montreal. They can't speak French. They don't know nothing. They just got to find these spots. It's a
well,
good
I,
idea.
I think, Ricky, I think this is good. I think it's good to think on this. I think we will think on this. I feel there's a different energy, and I like that.
I would like to get in not over amount of birds so you can handle the pigeons. You're talking
Okay,
200, 250 birds is perfect.
okay.
Perfect.
So we
Right.
got a number that you like. 250 is a good number. So maybe we say, okay, it's
Right.
250. It's 50 55 bird teams. Next, we got to come up with the prize money up front and how that's going to be. That's it. You know
Right.
what? Put out your accepting date, put out when the races are going to be, get the birds ready, and you know what? Let's see how many birds can do 15 times 100 miles. Will the hill be like this, like this, like this, or we know one thing. You know what we'll know? We'll know by race 7 if the wheels are coming off the bus.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It was a mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think maybe well, even if a private person tried it, take your birds training every day, 15 times 100 miles. No matter what the wind is, you got to go to 100 miles.
Well, Ricky, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wrap this up. Great conversation tonight. It was fun, and we're going to continue next Monday. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about this, or we'll talk about some other things. So, guys, put your ideas down, think about them, and bring them up on the show. And, this little idea, you can take it and do it yourself. I don't care. But my question is, if you do like it and you know some people, ask them what they think and ask them if they would participate. Because if we do it, we want 50 people. We need 50 people to make it good, to get the prize money right,
Right.
to get the group of birds right, and to make it fun.
Now, all I'm going to say is anybody that would like to watch our show, come on the show. If you're going to a Christmas party, tell people about our show. They don't even need to know anything about pigeons. They'll watch the show and they'll have a different look on life.
All right, this is what I'm going to do. Ricky, you're really selling this to the people outside the box. Guys, it's okay. The box now is over. Get back into your boxes. We've had a great show tonight. The music has ended. Wait, the dogs are calling me home. So, on that note, guys, I'm Ryan. That's Loft Manager Richard. We're with the Pioneer Racing Pigeon Club and Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. Thanks for all your support. Watch the Chris DeBecker Loft Tour this week. If you are not mind boggled, blown away with his thoughts on pigeon racing, it's incredible. You will really enjoy it. And his pigeons you will love. Bosman's, Leakins, and Annex Gocha. The best at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. We bring you small auctions with impact pigeons. That's what we do. Ricky, Ryan, myself, and thank you guys again for your participation tonight. Let's see how we can make this race better because I think we're on the right track. Good night, Ricky.
Good night. Have a good one.
Bye.
Oh, by the way, it's morning for you.